Okay, I'm gonna try to talk about my track log from today's flight. Flew about 3 hours, went about 40 miles, got to 7,000 feet, and saw climbs from about 400 was my on my averager, but I had climbs uh, to 1,000 feet per minute. So here we are at Lookout Mountain Flight Park's launch. You can see it. You can kind of see the horizon as we come up to it here. So that's the cliff edge right there, right above this little 189. And this is the second time I've recorded this, so because I've had dropped frame rate. So if you guys know of a good screen capturing system, I have iShow HD, and it is not doing very well for me. So I apologize if there's some dropped frames, but you should still be able to hear what I'm saying. Get the idea. I launched, I guess first, really, there was a newer pilot, Eric, launched, and I was kind of messing around in the valley. No, actually, sorry, I take that back. Scott launched, and then I launched, and Scott was kind of struggling out here to the right of launch, and I hit something right off of launch and started turning it, and that's what these lines are here in the middle of the screen. And that kind of petered out, and by then James and another Eric Donaldson, launched, and they were both kind of turning out here, and I followed them and started turning with them above them, and then nothing was really happening. I followed Eric down the ridge line here, and as you can see, I'm just kind of my glide is falling out, and we're getting closer and closer to the ridge height, and then I saw Eric hit a little sink, and he turned and went away. And I thought, well, I'm about to hit that same sink that he just was in. So I might as well fly through it and see if there's something on the other side. And there was, which I hate for Eric because then he was struggling out in the middle when if I could have told him there was to turn back around. There was this climb right here. Sorry, buddy. But anyways, this climb took me pretty high, as you can see. And I knew I wanted to go to Hinson's, which is in the right direction of your screen, and obviously in the blue where the blue's going. And got out over the valley, hit another big one here in the middle of the screen in the sky, and started making my way. And I got drilled by sink here in the valley. And I don't know if you can tell by this, but I was just getting drilled. And then got out over Sand Mountain, which is Sand Mountain here in the middle, and then we're looking at I-24 running from the right middle of your screen to the left, and this dark kind of black stuff is actually the water, and it's prettier than this black. It's not black water actually, but anyways, thanks Google Earth. I hit a little climb here, got tricked by it, didn't like it because I just came from flying in like 800 feet per minute and thought, you know what, that's like 200 maybe every half a turn, and there's something better out here. So I kind of was committed and thought I'm going to go out over Sand Mountain, which is what I did. Now here you can see I-24. I was right over I-24 and saw a traffic jam, which had no rhyme or reason, which is kind of weird to see because when you're in it, you're like, why is the traffic slow? And when you're in a hang glider and you can look down, you can answer these people. There's no reason. You're in a traffic jam. That's it. Anyways, I had two bailouts that I could make. My 60/30 said I had it. It was this little field on the other side of the river, and then Big Daddy's, which is, let me get closer. Big Daddy's is right here, and I hope the frames are not dropping out right now. You can see my mouse. It's right there. And there's another little field that's not as good over here. And of course, Marion County Airport is somewhere like over here. So anyways, I had these two made and thought, you know what, I'm going to go out. I'm going to kind of go in this no man's land area because I think there's something here. And I forgot to mention that there was a forest fire going on this side of the Sand Mountain. And we had a little more west wind today, so from left to right, it was blowing. And I got on the downwind side of the smoke, and lo and behold, there was this climb right here. Took that climb, took it out over Raccoon Mountain, and didn't have that great of a glide, as you can see. Got tricked by a little something here, starting to get desperate, even though I had Inman's Point, which is over here on the right part of the screen. Um, I had that made. That's kind of one of the things I watch for. You know, if I have Inman's Point made, then I can easily cross all this kind of no man's land area where there's nowhere to land in here, and get over the river and get to where there are landing zones. If I can make that, then I can make these landing zones here in the middle of the screen. I don't know if you know what I mean by these. I'm trying to click. Anyways, I hit a climb over Raccoon Mountain and kind of petered with it and got a little bit higher, so I had a little more altitude once I crossed the river, which is absolutely gorgeous, by the way, and leads into the Tennessee River Gorge, which is, as you can see here, just gorgeous. Google Earth obviously doesn't do it justice, and if you can ever make this trip in a hang glider or any other aircraft, I recommend it. Here's a little quarry right here too that's interesting to see from the air. So you cross this beautiful Nickajack Lake and or Tennessee River. I don't know what you'd call it by now. It's a river. Anyways, and got drilled by some sink once I got over the plateau. As you can see, I just kind of was falling out of the sky and hit a boomer. And then here we go down the Sequatchie Valley. The kind of glide, had an okay glide, and then it falls off and hit another thermal boom, and then we go on glide again. And I'm getting to about like 6,500 feet. I got to 7,000 twice on this flight. Had a couple good lines here. You can see this lower blue line is on the way back. This top one is going, and then they cross here. Now on the right, the lower one is going out. And as you can see, I had some pretty good lines going down the ridge, so I wasn't really needing to turn. And this little thermal was really nice because Henson's Gap, which is where I was flying to, is about right here on the screen, the bottom, kind of bottom third right. And right before I got there, I hit this thermal and drifted downwind as I climbed up, which means I topped out right over the turn point, which is Henson's Gap launch, and then I could leave. Whereas if I caught that thermal right over Henson's Gap launch, I would have had to drift with it past the turn point, and then I'd have to turn and make up that ground that I had to drift with the thermal. So the fact that I caught that thermal on the upwind side of the turn point meant perfect. You know, I can turn in this and just drift with it, and by the time I get to the top of this climb, I'm going to be right over the turn point, and I can just turn and go, and I don't lose any ground having to make up ground. So that glide started out really nice, lost it. I'm not hitting anything. You know, by this time it's almost 6 o'clock, and so I'm not very optimistic. As you can see, I just kind of fall, try to turn in something, and there's nothing there. Luckily, I had okay lines every once in a while. I thought, you know, I can get back to Dr. Dale's and hit a little climb there, glide. You know, 6 o'clock, I'm thinking I could keep going, but you know, by the time I got to, you know, maybe 500, 800 feet over the ridge, I thought this isn't looking good. I'm going to turn around and go land in a nice field. We call Dr. Dale's. He owns it. He actually saw him flying his sailplane as I was flying by, and I'm sure he had a nice flight today too. And that's okay. And so let me zoom out and show you the whole track log, and so you can see the overview um, of the flight. Here we are. So it's a pretty awesome flight. I hope you guys can do it sometime. Hope this was informative and not too boring. And let me know if you want this track log in the comments on my website, and I can email you the KML file, and you can look at this flight for yourself. Probably nobody will want to, but I'm just making an offer. So see you guys in the air, and hope you're flying soon. Awkward ending. Okay, bye.